If you're a lineman in charge of keeping the lights on, Grainger understands that you go to great lengths and sometimes heights to ensure the power is always flowing, which is why you can count on Grainger for professional-grade products and next-day delivery, so you have everything you need to get the job done. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Time flies and it's so slow. I'm up and down like a yo-yo. I can't do it on my own. And I've tried and I can't pull the sword from the stone.
Good morning. Where are you, by the way? Are you in England right now?
I am in England, yeah, in the just in the south of England, just outside of Brighton.
Yeah. I was just thinking, man, 9 a.m., how rock and roll is 9 a.m.? And then I realized, oh, wait, he's in England.
Yeah.
Time difference.
Wait a minute.
But even then, how rock and roll is 5 p.m.?
Very rock and roll. I've just woken up, so no. No, man, it's funny. This is kind of how I spend my days now, chatting to all sorts of people from around the world on Zoom. It's actually really cool. I really enjoy it.
Nice decor in the background. Looks nice. Got some nice colors there. Got plant over there. Are you a decorator? Or is this all you, or somebody else come in and do this?
I had a little bit of help. Yeah. I mean, the main thing is the coffee machine for me. Like I'm a big coffee fan, big coffee snob, actually. So getting the coffee.
That's a legit.
It's a little bit serious. It's not like crazy made in Italy kind of legit, but it's good. It makes strong and good coffee, and that's really the main thing.
Like you're pouring the beans in. That's a process for a cup of coffee. Why not just grab like the pod coffee things?
It's not quite the same.
No.
Taste-wise, and also I just don't like the thought of where all those pods are ending up, to be honest. It's a bit of a dark thought. That's a lot of landfill. So, yeah, it's and you can get all sort of snobby about the beans that you buy. You can go into like hipster coffee shops and stroke your facial hair and talk about sort of the nuances of the beans, and that's an enjoyable pastime.
That's fun. I get that. I mean, this is LA, man. We have a lot of those coffee shops that are into that, but so you don't like the taste of the burnt plastic. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, weird, huh?
Yeah. Live alone? Just you? You're not married, right? You're a single guy?
I'm not married. No, I've not found a woman to take pity on me yet. Yeah, single guy, and actually sort of went through a breakup not long before lockdown. So I've sort of had the double whammy of heartache and confinement, which is it's an interesting cocktail for a few months.
It is. That's pretty heavy. I mean, it's getting to know yourself already alone like that, and then trying to mourn a relationship is quite a bit.
Yeah, but you know what, man? Creatively, it's been such a fruitful time. I think I'm not the first singer-songwriter to write a lot of songs around such painful situations, but yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever written quite so many songs as I have in lockdown, and the quality of them I feel like has been really high as well. So if there's one silver lining, it's definitely been the songwriting.
Your notes in your phone must be just going crazy. Is that how you kind of do it? You kind of write down?
Yeah, and I haven't labeled any of them, so they all say the same thing, and then just like number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's like, God knows what's in there. It's an absolute mess.
That's actually a really funny idea to do for the album, and don't even name them. Just be like note 1, note 2, note 3.
Exactly. Maybe I'll do that.
Just call it notes. Wow, so I get some points on this album.
Very nice. I like it.
Is one day marriage and kids the plan, and I ask because for me it never was. That happily ever after didn't include marriage and kids. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think until you find the person that it all makes sense with, until you're like, yeah, of course, you, brilliant, amazing, little versions of us, fantastic. Until that moment happens, I think it's all a bit ambiguous and hypothetical. So yes, I love the idea of it. I'm getting slightly old and grizzled now, so it probably needs to happen fairly soon if it's going to.
Stop it.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You're a young man. You're about to have your second quarantine birthday as well.
Oh, that's so depressing. Yeah.
Who's dressing you? Because I love how you dress, your outfits and stuff like that. Even flipping through just even your Instagram. I love the way you dress. Is that you?
Thanks very much. I think you're the first person to ever comment on that. it is me. All my handiwork. I buy shirts and jeans and then wear them in different combinations. That's the secret. Yeah, and always the same pair of Converse. I feel like I'm a fairly unadventurous dresser, but I really appreciate the compliment, man. Thank you.
No, I don't think that's true at all, man. I think you have a really nice style, and even the cut of your jeans is incredible. I'm like obsessed with the taper of them, the cut of them, and the thighs. Everything is like really nice.
Wow. You've really done your visual homework, man. I appreciate
Yeah, or somebody photoshopped the hell out of those pictures and made them look super nice.
Maybe my management team are doing that without me knowing. I wouldn't be surprised, yeah. These thighs aren't what they used to be.
Yeah, well, mine neither, man. You still spending Let Her Go money? Is that still running things right now?
I mean, that song is just bonkers. When I wrote that song, I was busking around Australia. I was playing in pubs every night and playing on street corners in the daytime. I wrote that song in 45 minutes backstage at this little pub. And I wrote it so quickly that I liked it. And I thought, yeah, that's a nice song. But it wasn't even within my universe of possibilities that it could go on to be a commercial success. So I don't quite know where to start with that song, and it just keeps on going. You know, like it's, I think, up to 3 billion views on YouTube now, and over 1 billion streams, and it's nuts. It's nuts. And the best thing actually about that song, and I truly mean this, is the fact that it's got so big. It's kind of reached every corner of the world, and still today, like I get messages from like Tibet and like Nigeria and Paraguay, all over the world, kind of people saying how much this song means to them. They played it at their wedding or a funeral, or it got them out of of a slump or feeling depressed or whatever. That is mind blowing to me, man.
Wow.
That is so cool.
At a wedding, that doesn't seem the appropriate place for that song, does it?
Yeah. You know what? I have thought that when I get the wedding ones, it's like, it sounds a little bit like you're not sure about getting married. Yeah, and if I was the bride, I'd be like, why did you choose this?
Yeah, that's what's going on during that first dance conversation.
Yeah, and like the whole wedding's in tears. It's like, you've completely ruined this. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if they're almost thrown off because that song is kind of on a positive chord, isn't it? As depressing of a song, but it's on maybe that's what it is. And
that's what I like to do. I like to lull people into a sense of, oh, this is actually quite pleasant. And then once you listen to the lyrics, like, oh no, it's not. It's actually very, very depressing and sad. And now I'm in tears. And that's my job.
It's weird because, as a guy, I don't know if it's a guy thing or not, but I tend to listen to the music, first. Melodies, chords, especially. I love orchestras and scores and stuff. But then after a few listens, eventually you listen to the lyrics, and that's where you go, wait, what?
That's really interesting. Yeah, it always fascinates me how different people approach music within my band as well. Talking to the drummer, talking to the bass player, talking to the guitar player. It's like they all just listen for that element first. And I find that fascinating that a drummer will listen to a song and it's like, all I can hear is what the drums are doing. And then, as you say, eventually, after a few listens, you start to kind of come out of that and hear the song as a whole. I love that, man. I think that's so interesting. For me, I'm obsessed with lyrics. I'm an absolute nerd with lyrics. Like, I grew up listening to, John Prine and Joni Mitchell and so many great songwriters. And I don't know, I think when you're able to couple powerful lyrics with a beautiful melody, something extraordinary happens in the human brain. It's such a powerful combination. And I'm obsessed with trying to get that right. Yeah.
It's something special. Sometimes it can take quite a while to get through a song because you have to keep rewinding and listening to even how certain words sit on a certain chord. And I grew up listening to, for me, it's Peter Gabriel and
awesome.
and Sting and stuff. So for Peter Gabriel, first of all, the music is just wide and airy and insane. And half the time, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. So I know I have to dissect that later.
Yeah. I'm a fairly recent, I say recent, like within the last 10 years, like getting into Peter Gabriel, and that guy is a genius. And the tone of his voice, aside from anything else, aside from the production, which is absolutely spotless, and the songwriting and everything else, the tone of that guy's voice just is utterly untouchable. It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Are you a little hyper aware of the way other people listen to it? Like, are you setting certain sounds in the background, like ambient noises for the people who may listen to it a certain way, or?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, I think I've got better at that as well. And the more records you make, this is my 13th album now. And I think you just kind of, you learn with every album, you learn with every record, and you take that experience into the next one. And so I do think, yeah, I think musically it's richer, it's more interesting. I think back in the day I was, yeah, as I said, so sort of keyed into the lyrics and that kind of thing. Maybe that took center stage too much, but I think there is a musical world now. Big thanks to my producer and my band as well. You know, they're so brilliant. I'm so lucky to work with those guys, and they come in and add so many layers and such a diverse musical world to what I do. So it's fun.
And when you say your band, that's a little confusing for some people as well, isn't it? Because I don't know what the hell to call you sometimes. But I do know one thing: your fans are super comfortable just calling you Mike. And
yeah,
is that okay? That's all right with you?
It is okay. Yeah, it's a funny one. Like if someone stops me in the street, they often call me Passenger because, you know, it's like, oh my God, are you Passenger? It's like, kind of. Passenger started as a band like years and years ago as a 5-piece, and we released an album and toured a bit. This was sort of back in the early 2000s, and for a sort of plethora of reasons, it didn't quite work out, and I ended up kind of going off on my own and doing my solo project. And at the time, I just remember thinking, do I just call myself Mike Rosenberg now, or do I stick with Passenger? And there was something about Passenger that, firstly, I didn't want to kind of lose the small fan base that we'd sort of amassed at that stage. But also, there are so many male singer-songwriters that use their given names. And I just kind of remember feeling like, actually, Passenger just kind of gives it something slightly different. It gives it an ambiguity and a bit of a mystique. So I stuck with it. And I'm really glad I did, because I think over the years I've really grown into that name, you know, with the way that I've traveled and busked and played and the sort of observational style of songwriting. I actually think it really kind of fits the name now. But you're totally right. It is completely baffling to most people because is it a band? Is it a guy? Like,
right.
Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Yeah.
But you know what's crazy about it too is the fact that people do connect it as a band, but you as a solo artist have been around longer than the band actually even was.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, the band was only about for 4 or 5 years. And
yeah. You still talk to any of those guys, by the way?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I'm still in touch with all of them. And every now and again we go for a dinner and a drink. And actually, funnily enough, Andrew played some guitar for us on a recent album as well. So yeah, they all still live in Brighton. Like they're my boys. They're great. And, you know, it wasn't right for any of us, that setup, and it wasn't some sort of, you know, acrimonious split. You know, it was just kind of the right moment for all of us to be like, you know what, this isn't quite right. You know, so we've all remained friends, and it's not as sort of rock and roll as some people would like to think.
Yeah,
yeah.
I was gonna say I want to hear about feuds, and I want to hear at a pub, and you're fighting at 2:30 in the morning.
I wish I could tell you those things. It was all very sort of middle class and English and polite. But yeah, it's nice, man. I think music's like that. You know, it's a bit like life. You know, you go through life, and for a time, you and another person or a group of friends are so close, and you're so relevant to each other, and you're in the same place, and you're on the same page, and naturally, you know, you end up drifting away. You end up doing other things, and it's nothing personal. It's nothing bad. It's just the evolution of things, really. So yeah, music's very, very like that.
Right. The chances of two people growing through life, you know, on a parallel is pretty. I mean, especially right now. I mean, oh my God, how many people have you cut out of your life in the past 8-10 months?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. I mean, it's difficult just not hanging out with people. So yeah, I guess you've got to cultivate that kind of digital friendship with everyone, which can be exhausting, right? Like, you know, not having that real, like, just actual human hangouts, I find really tiring. And the thought of a Zoom, even with my best mates after, you know, a day of work, it's like, you know what, I can't. I just want to zone out and watch Netflix. It's sad.
It's interesting though, because You guys are pretty much staying home right now, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
So you work at home, and then now you're just. Is it maybe that you're getting too good at being alone and at home?
That's an interesting.
Too comfortable with that?
Yeah, and I think we all have. I think we've all sort of adjusted to this to an extent. Like you have to. It's going to be interesting when this eventually ends and we're allowed to kind of go out and mingle and socialize, and it'll be super interesting to see how comfortable people are with that initially.
Yeah. It's going to be like a kid running out in the playground going insecure. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say to people in person. And oh my God.
That's how I felt my whole life, actually. So that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I feel that for sure. I definitely am, home alone as well to myself. Mm-hmm. Not being around people is probably the easiest part of this, and it sounds terrible, but at some point you realize, wow, I'm way too good at this.
Yeah.
This is probably not good.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Thank God for Zoom. And here you are. You're in my house. Is this weird? I'm in your house.
Welcome. It's not weird anymore, is it? I kind of, and as you said at the start of this, like the reality of doing a promo run before this was like literally flying and traveling and driving all over the world. Like, it's exhausting, it's expensive, it's knackering. Like, you're in a hotel room, you're in a tour bus, you're somewhere, and you spend months doing it. And actually, like, to be able to like today I've spoken to like maybe 8 people from 8 different countries, and
no kidding,
and it's comfortable, and everyone's in their home, and it's this thing of like, I don't know, I have to say, like, I think there's something pretty amazing about it.
It's great. I mean, I'm in your sweat. Are you wearing sweats? Do you even have pants on, for God's sakes?
I do. You know what? I've definitely done the sort of sweats beneath the camera thing. Absolutely. You should feel special. I've got some jeans on today. I've really gone there. I was like, this is a big interview. I don't want to be in my tacky bottoms.
Very well. Hang on. You got your jeans on. I have to know for my own self-serving reason. What brand are your jeans?
They're Nudie, which is Scandinavian jean. Yeah. The okay. I'll send you a link to the. I'm not sure which fit or cut or whatever, but I'll send you a link to them, man.
They're definitely a skinny cut because they're just the way they're for. And sorry to sound totally obsessed with that, but
it's cool.
But yeah, talking to people all of these countries, and it's got to be cool to see. I don't know how much time you get to spend on your comments and stuff on Instagram, but you've got these fan groups in other like Uruguay and Brazil and Argentina.
It's mind blowing, and it goes back to what I was saying about sort of getting messages from people, and I'm not trying to sound sort of I don't know. It genuinely is the best part about this. Genuinely knowing that the music that I'm sort of writing at my kitchen table sort of goes into this machine and then comes out the other end and is an album, and then that goes across the world, and especially with Spotify and YouTube and the way that music is being consumed now, it really does get to everywhere, and that's such an exciting feeling for an artist. I think there's lots of weird things about the modern music industry. There's some things that aren't ideal for artists, but the fact that you can upload something yourself to Spotify and that is then potentially out there in the world and meaning the world, not just sort of certain markets or certain territories. It's like that's there for everyone to listen to. That is a really exciting thought for a music maker, I think.
Yeah, and I would think for these countries who English isn't even a main language for them, but they still latch on to an English artist like that, or an English speaking artist like that.
I was South America specifically. I was very lucky to tour there with Ed Sheeran in 2019. I'd never been to South America before. I've always wanted to. It was really the part of the world that I hadn't spent any time in, and yeah, I got to go and play these massive shows with Ed, like stadium shows in Sao Paulo and Buenos Aires and Montevideo. And it was just incredible. I mean, like, those guys are wild. Like, they're such cool audiences. It was just so loud, so joyful, so welcoming. And then after the Ed shows, I sort of snaked around and did my own shows for a month or so. And we got to Peru and Chile and Colombia and Mexico. And man, it was such a wonderful experience. And, it blew my mind that I would turn up in like Bogota. I'd never been there before. And like there'd be 1,500 people in this theater. It's a sold out show coming to see my music. And that's humbling, man. That is truly humbling.
And to have them, like I said, not even speaking English, but singing your song back. That's got to be, there has to be that moment where you're on the stage going, what the hell?
Yeah.
How do you know this?
Yeah. And actually for me, you know, as much as I talk about, you know, the streaming numbers and the views and all that kind of stuff, it's much more tangible for me to go and stand in a room in Lima and play to a couple of thousand people who know my music. That's what means something to me. That's what's real about all of this, you know.
Sure. They're there because they want to be there, as opposed to just finding something to do on a Saturday night. And it really shows in like when I was flipping through like even the comments when you put the album artwork up. I mean, not only the things that they're saying, which really funny, by the way. They have some really creative ways of telling you that they love you.
Yeah.
This guy's if you could add another song in this album where you sing for maybe 6 or 7 hours nonstop, that would be great. No pressure though.
Sure.
Yeah, it's funny, but when you start to click on the names of the people and seeing who these people are, I mean, you've got a lady here who is at a picture of her and her kid at a football match, or this guy over here who's surfing somewhere, who knows where. And it's really interesting when you go a little deeper on just the different types of people. I mean, you're just
and that's something I've always been proud of as well. You know, I think the demographic at a Passenger gig is so varied. It's whole spectrum, and I don't know where that's come from. Whether it's sort of the busking origins or whatever, or the songs that I write seem to. Hopefully, this is what I hope, is that it's possible that those songs can speak to various members of society. You know, it's not just kind of speaking to a very specific demographic. But I'm always really proud of that, man. I'm proud that, you know, people's kids like it and their parents like it and their grandparents like it. And sometimes there's this real kind of family thing with Passenger, which I'm really proud of. And, you know, if a family comes together over my music, you know, again, it's those moments that make this really special for me.
Because in your mind, I mean, you're on stage and you're playing. That's pretty much what you see is the people in the crowd. So in a way, everybody, that's your audience are the people sitting in that row and that row and that row. But then when you open up their accounts and you see, oh, this guy, whoever this guy is, Chris, who left you a comment. There he is with his friend hiking on a trail somewhere.
What a lad!
And it's just the fact that that's what social media has been so awesome. And I would think, I mean, I'm not an artist, but just to see the daily life of these normal people.
Yeah, right. To be honest, you know, it's especially at the moment, it's been so crazy with the album coming out and everything else. I don't get to spend as much time as I would love to, you know, answering people and commenting back. There was a time when I was busking, I would message every single message back. I would spend an hour a day on Facebook and just making sure I kept up on that. And dude, I tried to keep on doing it for as long as I could, and it just got to the point where it's like I can't do this anymore. Like I've literally not seen my family for 9 months, but I love it, man. I love that, and what a bit like, you know, we were talking about, you know, how music is consumed now. What an exciting time that artists are completely in touch with their fan base. You know, there's no wall in between that, and I think probably there used to be.
Well, there's also no wall, and like you said, between that music getting out there. Have you ever at 3 or 4 in the morning uploaded something to push out on Spotify and iHeart and all these apps and then went, oh, hold on, I got to pull that back? Have you ever had one of those moments?
No, thankfully, I don't generally upload myself. I think that would be a very...
But you can, though. That's scary, right?
It's quite scary. What I've wanted to do, and I didn't. I was drunk playing guitar a little while ago. I was like, I might just go live. I might just do a live video. I think people would really enjoy it. It's so real. And I'm so glad I didn't. I think my mate was like, mate, I love you, but you're not looking your best and actually not sounding your greatest. Why don't you do it tomorrow when you're sobered up a bit? And yeah, thank God he was there, because otherwise it could have been a bit of a carcass.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, it would have been funny for anybody who happened to be online at that time and just caught it. Yeah.
But that is the downside to having all this ability to upload onto a podcast or music or
I guess so.
Or
I guess so. Yeah, there's a great responsibility that comes with it.
one button on Instagram that says live, and there you go. Yeah, that's probably
Yeah.
not very smart.
For sure. For sure.
This album, man, it's so cool, and even from the artwork on the front, I mean, you use a clown on here, which is like the most extreme, like an unhappy clown. Is that the most extreme way of showing unhappiness? A clown who is known to be the happiest person in the world.
Yeah, I think it's a really powerful image, isn't it? And
It really is, yeah.
for me, clowns make a lot of people uncomfortable, right? I mean, even before the whole like Joker phenomenon over the last few years, I think a lot of people are kind of scared / uncomfortable around clowns. And I think the reason is that, you know, you're never really sure what's going on with them. They've got the face paint, they've got the mask, they've got the show, but in the eyes, you can always kind of see like, are you all right? You know, are you okay? And I felt like, you know, that this album, Songs for the Drunk and Broken Hearted, I think there's something in it where when you're going through a really rough time, when you're going through a really sort of sad time, and there's this kind of external pressure and potentially internal as well to make it look like everything's fine, and to make, to kind of protect. Maybe it's a very British thing as well. We're very sort of like measured, even in sort of times of crisis. It's a bit like, no, everything's cool. And it just felt to me like that was a really good representation of that. You know, this clown who's kind of paid to make people laugh and put on a show and whatever. But, you know, this image has kind of captured him at this really low moment on his own, the wig's off, whiskey bottle in hand. And there's something really poignant about it, I think.
I was reading too that you dropped a few songs from this album as well. What happens to those songs now that you got rid of? There's like a couple, like three songs or so.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it wasn't that they were bad songs. I think sometimes when you record an album, you go in with a bunch of songs and it's weird. Sometimes the ones that you think are going to be super easy and come out super, super well don't. And the ones that you're kind of, you know, a bit more tentative about turn out to be the crackers. So these ones, I think if I'd had to release this album in May as was planned, they would have been on it and it would have been fine. I think because I just had that extra few months to live with it, to listen to it, and just had to be honest with myself and was like, every time these 3 songs come on, I'm just not as excited, you know? And because I was writing so much in lockdown, including Sword from the Stone, which is the new single, and I've written that song and I was like, man, there's something really special about this. We just decided, like, you know what, I think it's going to be a much better record if we add these 3 and take these 3 off. And those 3 songs will definitely find a life somewhere for sure. They'll turn up on an album later on, or they'll be, you know, sort of bonus tracks along the line. But yeah, I think it's a really important thing, to be honest, when you're making music. You know, you can absolutely take shortcuts and phone it in moments. You can. But I've learned after making so many albums and sometimes making those decisions, even years afterwards, when you listen to that record, you're like, track 4, why did I do it? I knew at the time it wasn't right.
You're your own worst critic, though, aren't you? I mean, you're the last person to really ask, which I also saw is that you actually play it for other artists as well to say what you think. So that's...
Yeah.
Who are you playing it for, by the way?
The main one is Ed's. I mean, we've been friends for years and years, and, you know, he's been extraordinarily generous to me over the years, you know, taking me out on tour and as a support act and championing my music to anyone who will listen, really. And yeah, when I wrote Sword from the Stone, I sent it to him because we often send each other, you know, just phone demos or whatever. And he got back to me after like 7 minutes and was like, dude, there's something, there's really something with this. And so he ended up actually going away and producing a version of it. It's called the Gingerbread Mix, which I believe is the one that you guys are playing. And it's so cool, man. It's what an absolute privilege to have someone like Ed Sheeran, you know, produce a track for you. So it's, I feel very lucky in that regard.
Especially to, because you said that's your favorite song on there, probably, you know, and
yeah,
which is interesting as well, because that's the first song on the album, isn't it?
It is.
Is that kind of like, hey, I'm going to hit him right away with this song that I love?
Yeah, I think it makes a real impact. I think there are so many ways you can go with a record, and I think every album is different. Sometimes you want to sort of creep in subtly. Sometimes you want to smash them as soon as they put it on. So yeah, it just felt like a great opener. It felt like a really good way of setting the tone for the rest of the record. Yeah.
Now the Ed version is, there are some differences. I mean, my immediate one is it gets in faster, like right away.
For sure. And it's something that we talked about. You know, like the music I make generally. I mean, Let Her Go was an anomaly. The music I make, left to my own devices, can be catchy, can be whatever, but isn't necessarily the right aesthetic for, you know, commercial radio and that kind of world. Ed is a pop genius. And I think he got so excited about this song and he was like, mate, honestly, like we could do something really exciting with this. And I'm totally up for it. And I think, you know, at this stage of my career, I'm not precious about it. You know, I'm 13 albums in. I'm very confident with who I am musically and what I do. And yeah, it was like, yeah, absolutely. Let's have some fun with it. And the whole idea was it would be a bit punchier, a bit poppier. Basically, he was going to Sheeranize it. And that was something we were both aware of and I was very happy about, really.
And for programming as well. Programmers must love it because it's definitely a shorter song. So it's a
shorter song. And it lends itself more to that world. And look, you know, I'm sure some people will have trouble with that decision making process or I've sold out or whatever else. For me, it's just like, look, this is a really catchy song and I really want to give it a great shot at radio and a great shot at reaching lots of people. And Ed wants to work on it. I mean, like at that stage, it's like, yeah, let's do this. It's fun. It's great.
What I'm getting from this song is when you're singing to the ex.
Yeah.
This is kind of and correct me if I'm wrong on this, but this is how I'm hearing it. This is like the first communication with the ex, and you're saying, hey, I hope you are doing this, and I hope you're good. But that's a way of saying, I'm not any of these things that I hope you are, first of all. But even in right, and even in the tone of it, like the first, like the verse of it, where you're being soft and saying, hey, I hope you're doing good, that whole vibe. But then when it flips onto how you are, even the music gets a little louder and more aggressive.
Yeah, I think that there's something really true to that. The way I look at it is that the verses are almost like, it's almost small talk. It's almost kind of awkward. It's almost like, how's the weather? How you doing? How's your mum? Like, it's that kind of stuff that maybe like if you bump into your ex after a year, you're like, how are you? And then the chorus explodes into this sort of like, because to be honest, I'm a complete mess. And there's this real level of honesty. There's this explosion of like vulnerability. And I think the juxtaposition between the two things, that kind of polite, small talky, like, hope you're doing all right, to like, I'm a complete mess. I think there's something powerful about that. And not just from a breakup point of view. I think there's a real lockdown feel to this song as well. You know, up and down like a yo-yo and time going fast and then slow. I think everyone can relate to that after the year we've all had. Yeah,
for sure. And even the roller coaster, not only of emotion, but also of the chord progression, because this, like you said, these small talk, the chords on it are kind of happy, but then on the hook, when you talk about yourself, even the chords and stuff are a little darker, a little sadder.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting talking about it. It's lovely to get sort of outside perspective on it, but yeah, it's a song that I wrote. You know, I write a lot of songs and I like most of them, but every now and again there's one that I just had, as soon as I went to that chorus when I was writing it, I just got goosebumps, and it was just like this. I know that this is something special. I feel it. Whether it goes on to be crazy mega hit or not, like, I'm so proud of this song. I feel like it's the best I can do, actually.
I'll just tell you too, the part that really hit me the most was after all of that, the place where the bridge would normally be, everything just, for lack of a better term, just freaks out, and it double times, and just the fact that the beat double times, and it's just a complete mess in the mind.
Yeah, that was a Sheeran edition. I mean, so there's two versions of this. So there's the album version, which is much more in keeping with the rest of the record, and then Ed added that kind of breakbeat kind of. It's almost dare I say it, it's almost sort of drum and bassy kind of thing.
It's like that the jungle drum and bass stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Which is something I never thought would be on one of my tracks, and when I heard it the first time, I was like, that's so cool. Like, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
And you know, it's really important as well to push yourself as a musician, not just live in your comfortable little world of kind of acoustic guitars and folk and, you know, acoustic playlists. It's like, actually, yeah, do try something different. Do push it a little bit in whatever way that may be. I think it's a really healthy thing to do.
Yeah, I would even, that part could even be longer for me, because it's like I say, encompassing that whole feeling, but also the fact that it is the drum and bass drum sound, but it's still the soft music over it. And that's where your mind is going, what's happening right now? There's this, it's this and this, which on paper should not work together, but it is so attractive to listen to. And that's the part, one of those parts I was speaking on earlier. You have to keep rewinding it.
That's awesome. I will pass that on to Ed. I'm sure he'll be very touched to hear that.
The only thing I hate about it is that I can't talk at the beginning of it about it, because there's no intro on a damn thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You know, but you can never please everyone with Let Her Go. The thing that everybody got annoyed at me about was the end bit where I kind of go a cappella. And because I didn't even think it was ever going to get on the radio, I left that really long pause at the end. Only know you love her when you let her go. And then it's like a year. And you let her go. And every radio DJ around the world was just like, what are you doing, dude? Like, yeah. Why is everything quiet? Why is it dead space? Yeah, it's like this panic globally. So I've learned my lesson with that one.